Okay. I am ready, Mr. President, if you're ready.
Yes.
Good evening. This is the work session for Northfield City Council, January 19th of 2021. This meeting was properly advertised in the Press of Atlantic City according to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 on January 9th of 2021. May I have a flag salute led by Mayor Chow, please?
Keep rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Excuse me, we just have a moment of silence. For his very good man, Mayor Brown from Mullica passed away last week. And as I said, a very good man, did a lot for his community, and will be sadly missed by many. Thank you.
Okay, I do apologize. Technology is supposed to make it easier, and that's not always the case. Due to social distancing requirements related to COVID-19, there are limited seats for in-person attendance by members of the public this evening. For this reason, this meeting is also being presented simultaneously as a remote public meeting live streamed using Zoom conferencing service and in accordance with the governor's executive orders and the Open Public Meetings Act. Zoom meeting participants can dial in by telephone and listen to the proceedings, or they can access the meeting using a web browser and be able to view and listen. Instructions on how members of the public could reserve one of the limited seats, as well as how they can access Zoom, have been made available on the municipal website and were published in the Press of Atlantic City. The full text of the public meeting notice has been posted at the entrance to the municipal building and includes Zoom instructions, information on where to find the meeting agenda and relevant documents, as well as instructions on how members of the public could submit comments in advance of tonight's meeting. For those participating via Zoom, all participants will be muted upon entry to the meeting. Web browser participants will not be able to share their screens or see the camera view of anyone other than the host, which is the City of Northfield. Zoom participants wishing to exercise their right to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting should wait until the specific announcement is made to open the public comment period. At this time, one by one, any telephone users will be asked to identify themselves and will be unmuted to permit commentary. For web browser participants, comments or questions may be submitted via the chat function and will not be acknowledged outside of the designated public comment portion of the meeting. Chat users must also provide his or her name and address for the record in order to be heard. Any written comments submitted in advance will be read aloud and addressed during the public comment portion of the meeting. And this evening, there were no such comments submitted. Roll call, Mr. Deweese,
Here.
Mrs. Madden, Mr. Notaro, Mr. Perry,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Utz,
Here.
Mr. Palestina,
Here.
and Mr. Chow.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Councilman Notaro and Councilwoman Madden are participating via Zoom, and that Chief of Police by telephone, and that Chief of Police Paul Newman is participating by Zoom. Mr. President,
Thank you, Mary. Committee reports, Councilman Perry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Starting out with the ACUA, myself, Mary, met with the Lance County. Greg, were you at that meeting? ACUA?
No.
Yeah, their annual report, and a lot of things have happened. The recycling is going to be shipped out of county now, a good distance away. That contract's coming to an end with the Republic, and they've taken ownership of Bangor, but it's not going to be done in-house. It's going to be transported to another recycling facility from the one that we're doing now. We've also seen increases overall in the wastewater, and but their total amount of the year in Atlantic City is way down. The adjusted rate for us at the end of the year, going on their numbers is about 95,000, and they're going to adjust next year's rate to reflect the difference of that amount, because some of the wastewater rates the same, but they put money into it themselves to try and stabilize it, because in Atlantic City, what's happened, they've done some internal adjustments. Hopefully it will turn back around, because of the flows in wastewater on the island is not up to where it should be. And as a customer, everybody has to pitch in to do that budget amount each year. We did fall to number 2 overall for recycling. We've been number 1 for a long time. We did have an increase in solid waste tipping, considerable amount, over and above last year. The rationale was that everybody was sending doing housework and putting stuff out. The overall municipal rate went up $1.90 a ton, and overall that's about it. There's something out there.
Thank you.
I just got today's stats for December. Waste 12 is not too good. Another high. So I mean, rationale behind that was because all the rain we had was the answer that I got from the ACUA, but something we're definitely going to have to look at if that continues with heavy rain.
Is that in the sewer?
The wastewater, yes.
In the wastewater, got it.
Yeah, the chargeable amount, millions of gallons. It's by the month. This month was considerable. December of 2020 was considerable. We haven't got to.
Is that because of infiltration?
Just obviously it's got to have something to do with the rainfall. That was their answer. But, even though we are in the process of doing the study, the engineer and the state infrastructure trust, still we've been on with the metering, we've been on with the double check our numbers, and it's something that we're gonna have a meeting pretty soon and go over it. But it just seems like we don't control the metering. Sometimes we do ask for recalibration numbers and things of that nature. But overall, I haven't chance to look at the other municipalities and see where they were for that month. I just got this today. And, but just
Well,
see,
sanitary sewer, correct?
yeah,
That be attributed to more people at home now and yeah, I'm not buying the infiltration argument right now.
yeah, it's hard to say, you know, they calculated on the rainfall now and events.
Right.
And they gave me the chart with it and the rationale behind it. But, I'm gonna have, our guys look at it, the engineer and go from there.
I think that number's pretty skewed.
Well, we've asked for the documentation, you know, as far as the meter calibrations and other, they did the videoing of the interceptor main from Tilton Shore Mill down to the plant. They said there wasn't a problem. Romney's met with them as far as their equipment, trying to figure out what's going on there. But overall, I haven't looked at, I haven't been able to compare all the other municipalities that contributed to the numbers.
Do they take into account water usage from New Jersey Water Company? Do they look at that and see water usage?
Well, the way it's done is, we look at that at the end of the year for additional billing over a certain amount of gallons. They get an extra charge. Business residents are one fixed rate. They don't affect them. The commercial rate is adjusted for like a restaurant or something like that. What they do is they meter what comes in from other towns and they meter what goes out of our town. And that's what they go on. They don't go on with the American Water readings or we use them for commercial, but they don't use them. They have a meter in Linwood where it comes into Northfield, and they have a meter at Oppen Avenue. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong with that.
I think the concept of every time it rains, the sewer goes up is kind of flawed because the groundwater fluctuates, and usually the highest groundwater is in April, historically in our area. So in December, the groundwater is not that high. So if it rains this month, doesn't mean the groundwater went up. So one other issue could be a lot of residents have their sump pump connected to the sanitary sewer. And when it rains, the sump pump goes on and gets the water into all the sanitary sewer. This is illegal, but I know people can do that because when it rains, you go around, you don't see any water running around. Most probably they have connected to all the sanitary sewer. The other issue that has to be found some commercial developers have connected their stormwater management into the sanitary sewer. So we don't know if that's also the case. So there's work has to get done, especially when heavy rain at night. Like that, some of the commercial development procedure that's happening. So we need to know that. So that's one of the issues that we run into. It's a very tough call. But yeah, every time it rains, sanitary sewer goes up. The groundwater does not.
Right.
Doesn't go up the same day. It takes a while for it to come.
Would it behoove us to meter commercial properties?
Sewer line. Maybe, but we know what the water that comes through. The other thing you can do is, if you want to do that, we can do a dye test. Basically, look at a commercial development, like one of those, non-filter roads. Most of them, they have their drain lines running into one of them. So you can just dye into one of the drains. See if it helps lower.
If you're calculating, stuff, so, it's be skewed, it could be, some clear calculations there as well. So there's a lot of assumptions.
Well, we have some filtration. I know some of our pipes have filtration. We corrected some, and we, recognize move forward with the planning the decline, also that we correct all some of the issues we have. But I can believe that because of that filtration we have, we'll be down. What was the difference?
44.
Historically, we run about 25 million gallons. did that to us 2 years ago,
Yeah,
and we were the only municipality that spiked. And they said, well, it's your system, but I'm having a hard time believing that.
I do remember, I do remember that happened.
The, overall, in the meeting we had, a month ago, the revenue decline overall for wastewater, was $1,500,000, that they were down from the previous year. That's a lot of revenue that they had, so it's why they're doing that adjustment. But, I just quickly looked through the other towns, there's only one town that really didn't go up, but everybody else went up, but not to the point that we did. So we can't, as a municipality leader, because our system, pipe is in our jurisdiction and our capability. We could have our own comparison each month and, go by that. It's basically what hits Bob and Adam, what comes from Linwood, and they subtract it from those 2 years. That's basically calibrated, and but there's no other backup or anything that we have to go on as a municipality.
And what, and I, there was no resolution the last time this,
They reduced it a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't really-
They
yeah,
did inspect their line, we thought it was probably. And we have been ongoing work also with our system to look at it. I don't know, it's just aggravating the spikes in the terminologies and anomalies with the county.
and it's third line, so we can't have a meter somewhere in between either.
The only way that Linwood is willing to meet the gravity that goes to the pump station. And we will know exactly what's coming in, but they are metering whatever the pump station. And they have meters and that's what the meters are, but I don't know if these meters are accurate, they claim they're accurate, they haven't calculated.
An anomaly is a one-time event, and this seems to be happening every couple of years.
Especially in December and they spike up this time and they come down. And the spike should be happening if it goes in filtration in April, and then that's when the water table starts.
Yeah.
And the water table in this area fluctuates at least 3 to 4 feet. It's amazing sometimes you think the water table, you dig tested in November, October, and you'll see groundwater. You do the same test back in April and May, the water is higher. I've seen that all the time. You can't complain until they-
We had them in the last time, they came in and gave testimony, and they actually, said that they were, going to inspect, and they did inspect, found nothing wrong, and basically, I haven't had correspondence back with the certification of the calibration of the computer, so we can ask for that again. But other than that, I don't know, it's difficult numbers.
It just seems that if you got the New Jersey water usage in Northfield, you know, if they were close. They're really off.
They won't be commercial number.
I know, well, but they, of course, New Jersey water uses everything. So they know how much water goes to Northfield, and it should be close to what goes out.
We can request, I can only request the information from the water company and not from the water. I don't think that tomorrow. I used to always do close, we like to know how much water being used in the Northfield. Give us maybe yearly or quarterly numbers and we can probably compare it to
It's a way off. And it's not a problem.
Could you do that?
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Councilman Perry, could I ask you another question going back to the tipping fees and recycling? Could you repeat those numbers for me for, I'm sorry, for the,
Per ton,
yeah,
Who took the #1 spot?
We're up there. Number 2 now.
we've been unseated.
Yeah, and the only reason I asked this, and I meant to bring this up in December, but I had those technical difficulties in December. Uh, I recall going back 2 months, so I guess was in late November, early December, I think, looking out at the ACUA as they were, picking up yard waste and also recycling and throwing it in the same truck. And I don't think that's supposed to happen. So I guess one of the things I don't know if anyone else noticed that or complained about it, but I don't think they're supposed to be combining yard waste and recycling, but I witnessed it with my own eyes. So I don't know if numbers are skewed or if that has any bearing, but I would, in your next meeting, maybe ask that question in terms of their policy or how does that happen? I definitely saw it happen.
Yeah, the solid waste, the municipal rate is 60, it's presently, well now, 63.60 is up to 65.50 per ton.
I guess I was just wondering if any of the numbers, the total numbers in terms of the poundage or the amount was different. And if they're combining one thing, I mean, one would be lower, the other would be higher if that was the case. But I just wonder about that.
Yeah, 19 was the 3,000, I guess that's 3 million on it. And in 2020, it was 3.5 million tons. So there's definitely increase there overall. They're not supposed to mix any of the recycling or yard waste into the bulky waste municipal rate. Construction debris is a factor that people putting, they're in the business of putting contractor bags out there, and should be limiting looking at that also is an issue. But myself and Mary have both made complaints in the past about the eyewitness and commercial construction debris being put in the system, and they did address it. But at any time, anybody can make a complaint, and but we are at the discretion of our administration to manage their people and train them.
Right.
If you get people on vacation, there was a lot of big mistake, but for the most part, my route guys are usually regular. So, but there is times where they are on vacation. You have newcomers filling in, but
And they,
there was a considerable difference in that meeting. It was said that it was because everybody's around taking the houses, throwing stuff out. But there was also another charge that we asked about, and that was $114,000 other waste. They said that the street sweeping and bulk pickup, twice a year bulk pickup. And I haven't had a chance to look back on that to see what it was last year. We found my last year's file, but that was a considerable amount of money also. Other than that, the only option I have is contact the ACA, talk to our people, see if, ACA will recalibrate the need, or get the certification from the calibration company, and talk to our men and see what's going on. Any other questions on the sewer operation? Senior citizens, we have individuals tonight, the committee to be reintroduced for tonight, and we're practically at a standstill there because of the space and the amount of people and setbacks, so we're still at a standstill with that. And but we have been in touch with some key people, and hopefully by mid-year we can get back and That's all I have right now, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Lutz?
Mr. President, I have yet to contact the various people involved in the code enforcement, housing, do that. Planning board, really not a lot to report, there's one minor subdivision, North Skyler Avenue, just a simple, vacant lot being subdivided for a new house. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Notaro? Yes.
TRICARE had a total of 159 dispatches, 137 calls with patients, 96 transport, 17 mutual aid calls to EHC, and thankfully they administered no Narcan. I'm getting like a little bit of a feedback, so if I stutter, it's because I'm listening to myself right now. As for the fire report, I'm going to defer to Councilwoman Madden. She's going to do that report. As for the fan board had a meeting this Thursday, which I will be attending. Also, I went over with the board president with some improvements to the football field for March. The cultural committee, I'd like to thank the 9 new members in their service to Northfield, especially Roy Clark for all the years of service as the museum curator. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman DeWeese?
Thank you, Ron. The Grounds met with some members of FAN and Mr. Montara at the football field to discuss some of the repair options that we have coming up. So hopefully we'll do something in March, April, do some spot signs is the plan right now. Also, the Babe Ruth field could need some minor repairs as well. We already have money set aside for that project. First Street Playground, there's a light reported to me that we have in contact with Atlantic Electric, and they will have it fixed by the end of the month. Bike path, we also we have one light out near Yorkshire. I'll turn that into clean tomorrow. And Birch Grove Park Advisory Board did meet last Wednesday. We're asking the board to come up with a 3 or 5 year plan, some ideas of what they'd like to see done out there, and then we'll prioritize it accordingly. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Smith?
Thank you, Mr. President. Not too much tonight. The Little League and Babe Ruth, they sent out an email just in the last day or two. They plan on moving forward with the spring season. So the registration is open for Little League baseball and softball until February 21st. They're lacking in some details. We still have some things to figure out in terms of when the season will open and so forth. But it's a good sign that at the very least they have opened registrations, and the hope is that we can move forward with the spring season for the boys and girls who play baseball and softball. The Northfield Community School, the next meeting will be on Monday night. So there will be a board meeting on Monday, this coming Monday, and they did reopen today. So for the in-person schooling, they had a 2-week quarantine period for the 2 weeks after New Year's, but the school is back open for the sessions that they have, and our crossing guards are on duty. They will be open on Friday. Typically, they're Monday through Thursday, and they're virtual on Friday, but this was a short week due to Martin Luther King Day, and they will be in session all 4 days this week, including Friday. And we'll have a little update as far as shared services goes with EMS when we get to the work session. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Madden?
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
For my report this month, insurance and safety, I heard nothing to report. Didn't look
Land Regional, their board meeting was canceled was for tonight. So right now I'm trying to get a list of their calendar for the year. Mr. Nataro did ask me if I would like to do the fire report, and I graciously accepted. I know he has been very busy with CMS, so I have that report. The fire department, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Fire department calls for December included 3 total fire incidents, 2 false alarm calls, 7 good intent calls, 0 rescue incidents, 3 hazardous condition calls, 2 service call incidents, 0 EMS first responder incidents, and 0 mutual aid calls, for a total of 19 dispatch incidents. And I am certainly looking forward to partnering with Mr. Nataro on this committee. Library report, I attended the first library meeting last Thursday, and I have some statistics. For December, the attendance was 280. The circulation was 910. Fines and fees were $29. Total programs, 0. Program attendance, of course, 0. I would like to do a comparison from December of last year. So I have also the stats for the previous 2 years. Last December, attendance was 2,695. The circulation was 1,616. Fines and fees, $383.86. 31 total programs with program attendance of 282. I think what I noticed was how stark the difference is due to COVID-19 this past year. And hopefully we are looking forward to an end of this terrible disease that we have. Vaccines will get to people's arms. I will say, I can say this is my first report. I have been a member of the Friends of the Library for several years, and I have seen some of the work that Aubrey does. The library, under Aubrey's stewardship, the library is really a very vibrant, or has been in the past, a vibrant and active part of the community. She works tirelessly to provide a variety of programs for adults and children, which right now, of course, is curtailed. It also diversity in our community. She also highlights diversity in our community frequently with various programs and events. So she does bring the diversity cultural programs and events to our community. Unfortunately, things have been very difficult for her, and a lot of this is on hold right now. And also, like I say, as Friends of the Library are not able to do the fundraising to provide some of her things on her wish list. So we are hoping that this too shall pass very soon, and our community library will certainly reflect what it has in the past, and being a very good addition to our community, a vibrant and active place that it should be. And that's all I have.
Thank you. As far as I haven't met with the Municipal Alliance as of yet. Finance and collections, as far as finance goes, they're closing out the year and getting ready for upcoming budgets. So we'll be going over some dates soon to get us all to meet on those budgets. That's all I have.
Mr. Policina, can
Yes.
I say something else as well? It's something I neglected to say, and I wanted to express my condolences. There was a city, someone who grew up in the city who went to Mainland Regional. I had the pleasure of coaching at Mainland Baseball many years ago, and he was a member of the board at the Tilton Pool, and he just a young man in his mid-30s. Chris Griggs is his name, and he passed away recently from cancer, leaving behind a wife and young children. and I wanted to express my condolences. He was someone who was active in the community and, volunteering and working at the Tilton Pool over there on the side of town. And, I just wanted it's a sad story, but I just wanted to express my condolences to his family and, pray for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make a correction, Mr. President?
Yes,
I'm sorry, was Barbara done?
yes, she is.
On the tonnage, it is, it wasn't a million, it was 3,535 total for 2020. Getting confused with the load chart, but that's a 355 extra tons, and it equates to $3,000 increase in tipping fees at that meeting, and that wasn't till the end of the year, so that was the difference between 2020, 2020 and 2019.
It is substantial.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yes, we do a lot of dollars.
Okay. Moving on to work session, old business. Let's see, we were the Zion Road Pump Station easement.
Yeah, we're working with the county engineer to get some documents that they will accept right away. The owner presented agreed that they will transfer that property to the county. A letter was sent to the county executive requesting the assistance in finalizing the paperwork. So we are sure that when the owner of the property transfers the property up out of the right of way, the county has to do it. We're working on the ministry has a letter from the county and it's moving forward with having the right of way. And all the
Thank you. And while you're there, let's see, so then the Northfield Avenue Route 9 drainage.
at least sent another email from the DOT, asking her to establish their investigation. And I haven't received anything back from like 2 previous emails. So I'm not sure when we'll get to the contact.
Who's that from? Yeah,
The DOT.
the DOT.
The main drainage line, DOT.
Okay. Thank you. And the Emergency Medical Services, Councilman Smith and Natara.
Thank you. I think I'll start us off here and then Mr. Notaro can add in since he's remote. It might be easier for me to start it here. The towns have met. We issued the RFP. I should say we're partners in it, but Linwood is the lead agency. They put out the RFP. The bids were submitted. There was one bid. Everyone should be familiar with this. It was from our current server, which is TRICARE, but there was only one bid submitted at a substantially increased cost to the city. So we've had discussions, Mr. Natara and I have had discussions and also some informal talks with members of Linwood Council. We're not really, I don't want to speak for Linwood. They have a meeting next week, but Mr. Nataro, Councilman Nataro and I feel like the bid is not worthy, that we feel like we could and should do better. We don't like the fact that we only received one bid and at a substantially increased cost to the city. So our recommendation, now we're not the lead agent, so it's really Linwood that has to kind of make that call in terms of accepting, but our recommendation, Councilman Nataro and I, not to speak for Councilman Nataro, but is to reject the bid, to try to rework the RFP a little bit, reissue it, and see if we can get further bids, just to at the very least, express our dissatisfaction with the bid that came in. So those discussions are ongoing. We are up against the time crunch a little bit. The current contract expires February 28th, is that, Mary?
Yeah.
But I think part of the understanding that I have, and I'm not entirely sure if it's accurate, is that we might have 90 days after that, the end of the contract, but we have to investigate that further.
Hey, Brian,
Yes.
if I may, I was informed that there was a 90-day extension in that contract, so if need be, I think we have until May.
We have to look at the contract further, the original contract, and verify that, but
Do we have any limitation? Well, I guess if the contract has that, are we limited to 5 years?
Statutorily, EMS services are limited to 5-year periods.
and this contract, I think it was a 3-year contract with 2 option years, the most recent one, correct?
And we're in the end of our-
We're at the end of the 5th year.
Then we wouldn't be able to go, but we wouldn't be able to use that 90-day extension. Is that what you would?
I would want to see the agreement of sale, see how it's written. I know the statute provides for 5 years. From my conversations with Mr. Smith and Mr. Nataro, I know that not only Northfield, but Linwood is actively seeking to replace that contract. Without opining as to whether it's legal or not, the alternative is devastating, not to have an EMS service for people in Linwood and Northfield who need it. So, I mean, I think if you're going to err, you err on the side of providing the service at the risk of going beyond that 5-year period. I don't know what other choice you have.
And what happens if we go over? What is there some penalties?
The EMS police aren't out there looking at this.
Okay, we may get fined.
I don't even know. I'd have to look at the statute to see
Okay.
what the consequences may be, but I think we just keep plodding forward.
Okay. So now if Linwood's lead, but we both have to agree on the course of action. So as it stands
Yeah.
now, sorry, go ahead.
I was informed by Linwood that they're going to reject it next week.
We have to wait for theirs.
Mr.
And-
Notaro, it's Mary Kay.
Hi, Mary.
So we both have to agree because, as you may recall, the way the proposals were submitted, there were various options that vendors could choose, either just Linwood or just Northfield or both. Vendors were not permitted to submit just for one town. If they wanted to take on a town separately, they had to give Linwood its own proposal and Northfield its own proposal.
Correct.
So Linwood and Northfield have to agree. So based on your informal conversation, it seems that we are in agreement. Linwood's going to reject it and Northfield will also formally reject the resolution.
That's
Again,
right.
They're not controlling the process. We do things together.
Exactly. And to get the ball rolling, I think we would have to reject now and they would, reject next week.
Yeah, to save, because we wouldn't meet again until the second.
Time is of the essence, basically, on this. I mean, this 90 days, legally, I don't know how this 90 day would work, but I was informed that, theoretically, we have until May.
Okay. And someone has to give notice to TRICARE as well that we're going to extend 90 days. Is that Linwood?
Yeah, that would probably be the lead.
Let me look at that contract and
Yeah,
see if that 90-day wording is in there.
Okay.
Well, Mary, I'll touch base with you tomorrow. You can provide me with that. I'll see what the term limits are and any extensions.
Discussion was present.
Yes.
The actual charge rate to the patient is increased substantially also. You know, and if they're on a balanced bill, that's considerable. And I think that should be addressed also in the upcoming negotiations.
That certainly
that
is
was
one of the factors that
biggest
we
concerns.
assessed and evaluated. We didn't like the look of that certainly either. In addition to their increased charge to the municipality. Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, moving on to new business. A standing item that's been carried on, and new grant opportunities. Is there any input on that? Okay. And the lease agreement at parking spaces at Jackson Avenue and Fay. And
Excuse me, have we decided what we want to do? With this lease agreement, with,
yeah. Okay. So let's,
parking spaces and stuff like that, so I think we perhaps if the solicitor review that, but bring you up to speed with that, I guess.
okay, is there anyone that would like to join me on that committee?
I will.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So Councilman DeWeese, Councilman Perry, and myself. All right, next thing would be figure some dates out for our budget workshops. Everybody can, you can take a look at your calendars. Yes. All right, let's see. Did you get any tentative date from? Fine. Any Thursdays are fine?
Any Thursday, fine with me as well.
Typically, we do them, I'd say, what, 3 or 4 o'clock? For the end of the day, does that work for you? Is that, so should we begin, I imagine February 4th, let's see now. Planning board February 4th? How about January, is 28th, she may not be.
We could do it the same day as the planning board, we would just need to be mindful to be finished before their meeting starts at 7. Don't think you have to, I'm just saying.
A planning board,
Just
okay,
at 3. Planning board at 7, Councilman, is that correct?
okay.
We have done that, yes.
All right, so potentially we have February 4th. I guess,
No one would be-
but we will be limited, yes. Well, that would be fine for an initial meeting. That should go rather quickly.
Council President, just so you know, it doesn't make any difference. I have a conflict. I'll be out of town that day.
Okay. And how about February 11th?
On February 11th, I have a library meeting. What time are you doing?
By that's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we may potentially be wrapped up before that meeting.
Okay, what time is the meeting? Is it 3 or 4?
3 o'clock.
The 4th and the 11th? Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Should we, do we need, again, I'm sorry, I've been out of this calendar for a while. Would the 18th be too soon, or do you think there'd be a need to go push it to the 25th? Any input from anyone?
It means that any action
Was to
items
be done,
that come from one meeting need absolutely to be carried for the next one. That's all.
okay, and we have till the end of March to have a budget approved, correct?
I gave you guys this March and, yeah. I heard you.
Okay, all right, well, tentatively then, let's just go with the 25th to give some time in there for finalizing.
So we're doing also the 18th too?
No,
No?
the
Okay.
4th, the 11th, and 25th,
All
and
right.
if, I'll confer further with Dawn. And if there's any changes, the 4th we'll still stick to, but then on the 2nd, we can address any changes to those dates if necessary.
So the 4th, 3:00,
Yes,
and the
All-
same date, the same time on the 20th.
yeah, all three at 3 o'clock. The 4th, the 11th, and 25th.
The motion to adjourn,
Okay. Now, if we could refer to your agendas. Approval of the minutes, Councilman DeWeese, Councilman Notaro. Resolutions, Councilman Smith, Councilman Utz. Payment of bills, Councilman Perry, Councilwoman Madden. And meeting notices, Councilman Smith. Okay. At this time, we'd like to open the public session. Well, this meeting will now be open to the public for anyone wishing to speak on any subject. Please state your name and address for the record and observe the 5-minute limit per speaker.
Hello, Eric Heath, 802 Decker Street. I just want to let you guys know about your EMS issue. Atlantic County has a mutual aid agreement that all towns are supposed to participate in. So if you get in the jam, you will still have EMS coverage. Just want to get that out there.
Thank you. Any Zoomers?
Okay, I have typed into the Zoom chat that the public comment portion of the meeting is now open, but I do not have any comments as of yet. Okay, looks like we have no comments from the public.
Thank you. Public session is now closed. Motion to adjourn.
motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
The work session is closed.
I'm sorry, who motioned and seconded for adjournment, please?
Councilman Dewey's motion, Council Hutt's second.
And all were in favor, correct?
Yes. Aye.
Okay, we can start the regular meeting whenever you're ready.
Okay.
You're gonna pass that and I'll start again. Oh, yeah, we're still here. Okay, hello again. This is the regular meeting of Northfield City Council, January 19th of 2021. This meeting was properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, in the Press of Atlantic City on Saturday, January 9th of 2021. Even though I think we have all the same people, I still need to read the same statement. Due to social distancing requirements related to COVID-19, there are limited seats for in-person attendance by members of the public this evening. For this reason, this meeting is also being presented simultaneously as a remote public meeting live streamed using Zoom conferencing service and in accordance with the governor's executive orders and the Open Public Meetings Act. Zoom meeting participants can dial in by telephone and listen to the proceedings, or they can access the meeting using a web browser and be able to view and listen. Instructions on how members of the public could reserve one of the limited seats, as well as how they can access Zoom, have been made available on the municipal website and were published in the Press of Atlantic City. The full text of the public meeting notice has been posted at the entrance to the municipal building and includes Zoom instructions, information on where to find the meeting agenda and relevant documents, as well as instructions on how members of the public could submit comments in advance of tonight's meeting. For those participating via Zoom, all participants will be muted upon entry to the meeting. Web browser participants will not be able to share their screens or see the camera view of anyone other than the host, which is the city of Northfield. Zoom participants wishing to exercise their right to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting should wait until the specific announcement is made to open the public comment period. At this time, one by one, any telephone users will be asked to identify themselves and will be unmuted to permit commentary. For web browser participants, comments or questions may be submitted via the chat function, but will not be acknowledged outside of the designated public comment portion of the meeting. Chat users must also provide his or her name and address for the record in order to be heard. And any written comments submitted in advance would be read aloud and addressed during the public comment portion of the meeting, and there were none for this evening's proceedings. Roll call, Mr. Deweese?
Here.
Mrs. Madden?
Here.
Mr. Notaro?
Here.
Mr. Perry?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Utz?
Here.
Mr. Palestina?
Here.
Mr. Chow?
Here.
And let the record reflect that Councilwoman Madden and Councilman Notaro are participating by telephone, and Chief Newman is participating via Zoom. Mr. President. Oh, I am so sorry. May I have flag salute led by Mayor Chow?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Got ahead of myself. Now, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of January 5th, 2021. They have been posted and distributed to council and are on file for city clerk's office.
All in favor?
We can do that.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Mayor Chow, state of the city, please.
Thank you. Before I do, I just want to give my mayor's report. I want to, where did Chris go? Oh, there he is. I just want to welcome back Mr. Facenda. It's great to see you back again, and I commend City Council for selecting you as our city solicitor.
Thank you very
You've
much.
done an outstanding job, and I really appreciate your services.
Thank you.
There will be two posting of openings, a vacancy, one for the library board and one for planning board alternate. And so anyone who is interested in serving that position, if they would contact my office or Mary Canisi's office with a letter of resume indicating their interest in that position. The old generator, electric generator that we have here at City Hall is going to be moved over to the Public Works Department as part of the OEMS program in terms of providing electrical services if they should need it, if there's a danger or there's a need. I want to remind City Council, and I've been keeping abreast, our school superintendent with regards to my concern, and I'm sure City Council's concerned about the expense for covering the crossing guards third shift. And all that Mr. excuse me, Petronas asked is that if council should decide to eliminate that shift, that he's given ample times to contact the parents to let them know that there will not be coverage. As you know, we did receive I would say, a small amount of money from the CARES Act from last year, but it's nowhere comparable to covering the costs. And of course, our fiscal process is a year to year as opposed to the school. So please keep that in mind. And that's it for that. So I'd like to, at this time, present my State of the Union address, if I may, Mr. President.
Please, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Americans, we look forward to the new year. After many months of social distancing, making, and waiting, 2020 is finally ended. No doubt, history will record 2020 as one of our nation's most dreadful pandemic. It is my hope that in 2021 delivers the much anticipated positive news in a year dominated by COVID-19. The vaccine is finally here. And this optimism shines through the extraordinary year where Americans have experienced financial setbacks and has claimed so many years. I want to take this opportunity at this time to recognize the passing of several special Northfield residents who have each given much to our community. The first one is Mr. John Davis. Mr. Davis was a longtime board member for Mainland Regional High School, and his dedication undoubtedly will leave a mark in terms of what our high school is and how are the attributes. Debbie Doherty, a former Northfield City Councilwoman and longtime crossing guard. She, along with her family, have been very instrumental and dedicated and involved with our city government. And finally, Carol Patrick and Joyce Pullen. Their dedication and volunteer work will forever become an indelible mark in Northfield history. From organizing our annual 4th of July parade, longtime members of our Northfield Cultural Committee, ice cream socials at Birchgrove Park, and many more. They will sorely be missed. Now, I believe our economy will quick to turn around. And throughout the US history, our nation has emerged from wars, civil upheaval, and economic shocks stronger than before, proven time and again that tomorrow tends to look like yesterday. I want to congratulate the election of Councilman Tom Palestina and his election as council president, and Councilman Dave Notaro. I look forward to working with them and all city elected officials and city employees. I want to especially recognize the leadership that Councilman Frank Perry had provided us for 2020 council president leadership role. And I thank you so very much, Frank. You've done an outstanding job. As City Council works in the next coming months to formulate our 2021 city budget, I will strive to support a fiscal responsible budget and to maintain vital city services. On that note, I am excited to be working on a proposed Atlantic County shared services for an administrative court system that could potentially save Northfield residents a significant amount of tax dollars. At this moment, New Jersey Senate President Steve Sweeney, State Senator Chris Brown, and Atlantic County Executive Dennis Levinson are proposing legislation to create this shared services in Atlantic County. Crescent Hill Condos continues to move forward in its building phases, which provide housing and a strong tax base. And we have applied to a grant or many grants to upgrade and renovate our bike paths. Now, in summary, I just want to let people know that through the efforts of City Council and our city engineer, we have been very successful in the year 2020 to obtain significant grants in our road paving project and drainage. Let me give you a couple examples. In the paving project program, the project originally included portions of 2nd Street, portions of Franklin Avenue, portions of Fairbanks Avenue, portions of Bates Avenue, portions of Maple Avenue, including drainage. And this has created a sum of what we have received over $527,756 for the reconstruction that was awarded. The reconstruction of Fay Avenue, the city has been approved for $290,000 from the New Jersey Department of Transportation 2020 grants for the reconstruction of Fay Avenue between Zion Road and Dolphin Avenue. In addition, City Council received 4 bids, of the lowest bid from Hackney Concrete for $320,000 and $120.80 for the estimated budget for the reconstruction and award for paving as well as curbing. The reconstruction of Merritt Drive, Ridgewood and Drive itself. On November 16, 2020, the city was selected to receive $310,000 from the New Jersey Department of Transportation fiscal year 2021 municipal aid program. The local paving program for 2018, we're coming to a close. That include Jupiter Avenue, Park Avenue, Herzl Avenue, portions of 2nd Street, portions of Burton Avenue, Ireland Avenue, Infield Avenue, portions of Fay Avenue, Marina Ann Drive, and portions of Evergreen. This has accounted for well over $65,000 on the balance of the contract, and we continue until this is closed out. Reconstruction of Shepherd Drive and North Shepherd Drive. The city was approved for $285,000 from the New Jersey Department of Transportation in 2019. And as most of you will see and know, that the municipal paving project in the back and ADA upgrade is now in the process. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to emphasize that we will continue, and I know City Council will continue to work and obtain these grants that will help us pave and reconstruct the city roads. It's not, as you can see, a cheap venture. But thank you so very much for City Council, for our city engineer, and our city workers for their diligence and help in this situation. And let us hope that this COVID-19 will end very shortly and that we will move forward and make Northfield once again a great city to live in. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Engineers report.
Thank you, Council President. I prepared my report last week, but I revised the report to eliminate some of the items, which you have the latest report that's prepared today. I'd like to discuss a few items from the report. We'll start with the municipal building parking lot paving and the ADA improvement. As you know, the tower has been taken down last Friday. All the demolition work is finished, and we're meeting with the architect tomorrow to finalize the location for the foundations, and the contractor will start installing the foundations for the ramp, the steps, by Monday, next Monday. And we're estimating to have the project hopefully finished by the end of February. That will give us time to get everything set up to start the paving for the parking lot, for the municipal parking lot, and library parking lot. We hope that the entire project will be completed sometime in April, so we can close to that. The second thing I'd like to discuss is our road program. We had a pre-construction meeting with the contractor on the 14th, and we anticipate that we will start the drainage improvements in February, because we would like the installation to settle for at least 60 days before we pave. So tentatively, we're looking to start moving forward with the concrete and paving by the beginning of April. So if everything goes well, this project will start in February, will be wrapped up, be substantially completed by the 8th. That's our tentative dates at this point. When we get closer, I'll bring to the council the actual dates when we have it for the contract. Reconstruction of Fay Avenue, as you know, all the concrete work is finished. I had a discussion with the paving contractor and decided to hold up the paving until March. The weather is cold. If the weather was in the 50s or 40s, we could have paved and we get a nicer product, but because of the weather is at night, it can be too cold. The paving will be substandard. We don't want to do that. So I had the contractor backfill all the curbing, so it's safe, and secure, and hopefully by the beginning of March we'll start setting up for the paving so that we can finish that project also.
Okay.
And, the going to be construction of Meredith Drive as far as the engineering for the project. And hopefully we'll have that ready to go for the summer and have it done by the end of the year.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions for Ronald. The Bay Avenue project, I know that I'm going to wait till the spring, and that makes sense. Is there any way that we can have a contractor right behind the curbs, and there's a little bit of, some uneven ground, right behind the curb with restoration, we're not going to see it till probably the spring. Is there anything that we can do up to that point, because it's, like I said, there's some holes and some uneven ground, I'm concerned someone may trip in that.
I called the contractor because Quinn told me about that issue last week. The only problem is we need a couple good days, so they'll be able to correct it because it's frozen. So we're hoping that when the weather breaks down for maybe a week or so, we'll be able to go ahead and clear. The contractor is aware of the situation, and he knows this.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time,
I'm sorry.
yes, yes.
Should we, as a city, do we have like something in place so that we can let people know that it's dangerous? I mean, if we're going to be waiting 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and there's the potential for,
Well, it's just right behind the curb. I mean, it's probably not, but I'm just concerned about leaving it. So maybe we put signage out there?
signage or cones or something
The
to,
contractor go out and the worst area, some areas it's okay, I mean, it's not too rough, but it's not living hazard. I can walk into the contractor and figure out the areas that could be potential living hazard, maybe you can cone it and put
Okay.
tape around it.
thank you.
Maybe put something on the website, maybe, that area's under construction, just to alert folks.
In conjunction with signage, sure. Somebody could just let me know.
All right.
Thank you.
Mary, have you heard anything from the GIF or the Mel with regards to their annual seminar
Which one?
dates, for that they give it every year, 4 different locations?
Oh, no, not yet. No.
Okay, thank you all. At this time, we'll open the public session. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any subject, please state your name and address for the record and observe the 5-minute limit per speaker. We'll give a minute for the Zoom, folks.
Somebody talking? No.
It's in the police department.
I don't believe we have any Zoom participants who wish to make comments.
Okay. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, the public session is now closed. Resolutions. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by council will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, it will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certificate of availability of funds. Is there anyone, any questions on any resolutions?
I have one, Mr. President, on 33. Is this over and above, just making a separate position for this person under our code, and these dollar amounts are out of the package that was awarded to the solicitor?
I believe we discussed that at the last meeting, so this is going to be just a conflict in the event that our solicitor is unable to serve.
What I'm getting at though is not to exceed the $5,000. It looks like we are adding the dollar amount over and above what we agreed to.
The way I
If
would
it-
explain that is if Mr. Facenda's unable to serve, then there would be $5,000 less that he would be compensated. So it wouldn't be 25,000 on top of,
Yeah, that's correct. If the service that the conflict solicitor would have to render would be compensated to me if I didn't have a conflict under the retainer portion, at that point, I would make arrangements to reimburse the conflict solicitor out of whatever monies I was paid. If there's, outside litigation or a conflict that I would be paid hourly, that hourly rate would just shift to the conflict prosecutor. And obviously I wouldn't be getting that.
That's the same rate per hour. He's got 135.
His rate is 135 an hour. I believe mine was 150.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Councilman Perry, that is. Okay. Resolutions.
I'd like to make the necessary motion to adopt resolutions 32-2021 through 36-2021 by consent agenda.
Second.
it's actually a resolution to vote by consent agenda.
Oh.
The second one is to adopt.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Now this
Okay.
is, this motion's to adopt.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes, to make the necessary motion to adopt the consent agenda for resolutions 32-2021 through 36-2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Nope, nope.
Nope, nope. Roll call.
Got to be roll call when it's funny.
Got it backwards.
Roll call. Mr. Deweese?
Yeah.
Mrs. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Utz?
Yes.
Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for the adoption of the consent agenda.
Payment of bills.
Make a motion for payment of bills of $2,428, $995.65.
Mrs. Madden has seconded. Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Deweese?
Absolutely.
Mrs. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Utz?
Yes.
Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for payment of bills.
Meeting notices.
The next city council meeting will be held on February 2nd in council chambers with a 6 PM work session followed by the regularly scheduled meeting.
And a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
There you
Oh,
go.
I almost took my mask off.
Have a nice holiday.
Oh, thank you.
Which holiday?
President's Day. All right. Pick one.
Don't worry, Mayor, all right?
You know, I had to.